Almighty. Another end of day, right? We've got Euro JPY 4 hour. From yesterday, we had the sweep, so expectations were for buys, but we pretty much had the buys during the Asian session and late last night, right? Coming into London, we had a sweep of the Asian high, but because we're looking for buys, then there was no valid entry anywhere within here. Then we had an eye bounce down. So at this stage, looking at the fact that the M15 is bearish and we have an eye bounce, we may maybe look for sells in here, maybe if we see another eye bounce in here, then and a good setup, then maybe we'll look for sells. But keeping in mind that the 50-minute can switch bearish to facilitate the 4-hour pullback, right? And you would assume the 4-hour pullback is done once it's pulled into here, so sells for me would be lower probability than buys. So at this stage, I'd probably be still looking for buys, but honestly, after it has broken this high over here, because the swing high was supposed to go, it has held at this stage and even has an interval break. So for more conviction on the buys, probably wait for the break. For sells, which is lower probability, probably wait for this break as well. So my guess is I'll probably be sitting on my hands for Euro JPY tomorrow as well. And then Euro USD, Euro USD, Euro USD. We haven't had a chalk yet. This is not a chalk because this did not break the high, so we're still waiting for the mitigation of this pivot POI, right? Could have thrown it like this with this one, which would have had the mitigation, right, reaction, but for some reason I like this one better, so waiting for something like that. So sells at this point, I'd say, are valid, right? Plus we do have the 15-minute being bearish as well. But coming into London, yesterday we had a boss over here. Coming into London would have started at 10 a.m. just there, but I'm already awake right after Asia, so we had it selling boss, and then POIs in here, nothing in there. As you can see, the momentum here two. Okay, as I was saying, you had the POIs in here, right? You would have had this one as well, tiny one being the last sort of reaction, right? Last reaction before the break, so you would expect something in there, but not high conviction. And as you can see, if it's just one candle move in, then you're not taking that too much momentum, and your POI will probably not hold. And at this stage, nothing really in there because you would have been waiting for the IBOS and then continuation. We don't get that. Instead, we are within the premium, right? So tomorrow we'll probably wait for something like this, right? Nice clear internal break, and then look for sells into the deeper 4-hour POI. But don't take for granted that in terms of the bigger 4-hour, it would have been around here somewhere, like right there. So it did touch and it could be valid to start moving up. So at this stage, we'll wait and see. Hence, not even at this stage. I think it's always good to wait for better confirmation, right? Better confirmation equals higher probabilities, and the better the probabilities, the better the returns. And then GU sold off pretty much the entire day. Nowhere in here to follow. There's really nothing to say about GU because it just sold off damn near not even damn near the entire day, pretty much the entire day. We only had a pullback at 4, and yeah, like really, what pullback are you playing in here? You're not playing a pullback after a heavy selling like this, right? There's nothing you could do in there, just wait. But in terms of the bigger picture, we had a sweep of this zone over here. Now we might see it come back into back, okay, delete, let's try again. Might see it come into here and then deeper, right, for the 4-hour pullback. But in terms of the M15, you maybe will see something like this where it just chops around, right, before coming in here and then chopping about while going down, something like that, if that makes any sense. But for now, set on our hands. GU probably will need a few days to look a little bit prettier and give better price action. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. If we do indeed get something like this where we have a clear IBOS, then we'd look for the buys deeper into the premium. But then once we get like into zones like here or within here, sells a higher probability, so we'll probably wait for this, for an IBOS like that, and then we'll start looking for the sells like that. Obviously won't be exact, but the idea is always the same. The framework is always the same. And then USD CAD on the 4-hour where it is still, the internal still bearish, right? Even though the 4-hour did switch bullish, but remember we did say the 4-hour could switch bullish to facilitate the daily pullback, but there was the daily pullback is done. The 4-hour will switch bearish to continue on, and at this point in time, the 4-hour is still pretty bearish on the internal, and so looking for sells was higher probability. Coming into today, you would have had the sweep during London, sweep over Asian high, but not a full break right there. That's just a sweep, so I do look for a full break, and then you would have had that. That is not even like an IBOS. Well, price action like this is very tricky, because let's remember one thing: the internal low is all the way here. That's where your actual internal low is, because the internal break was here, which means the internal low is here. This was all straight. So if you're just using basically discretion, you would be looking for, okay, the sweep, you have the sweep, this is like the low, you created the sweep, right? You'd have that, but that did not break until this point here. Once it breaks, you look for your POI. This looked like a decent POI right there. This looks like a decent POI. Right, you have your decent POI here. here for market go down, sweep of this. What is a better low than this, right? You have the sweep of that, and then it comes back into the POI. Whew. Depending on your risk appetite, right, you could have taken this. Or like a 7, and with the 7 you would have quickly realized that 3.3 up is all the way down here, which is okay, right? But in terms of the entry, this would have been an LC1. You would have had a break of that. Once you have the break, you probably would have moved your stop to break even. If not, you would have taken a loss in there. If you did not move your stop to break even, you would have taken a loss. And then it just becomes iffy to follow, because then again you would have had this break this, right? This is another 15-minute POI. You move down to the M5. You probably wouldn't have taken this one because of how much momentum you came back with. Ouch. Probably would have not taken this one. How much momentum you came back with, and then it would have sold off. So in here, oh, okay. Also session timing and all of that, because all of this is happening in the dead of the session. So technically, you shouldn't be trading between 1, which is here, between here 1 and 3. So also another factor is, would you have taken this within the London low before New York open? Tough question to answer, really. Tough question to answer. Because unfortunately I couldn't be on the charts. I was a little bit busy with something else. So this happened while I was not there. If I was here on the charts, would I have taken that? I don't know. It's a little bit iffy. It's a little bit iffy, but you know, whatever happens in the moment is hard to determine, because I can say I would have done this or that, but done the complete opposite in the moment. So yeah, overall, not a great day in terms of price action. No real opportunities or real clear opportunities. So yeah, we will see how tomorrow ends up being. Yeah, peace.